Our next host, Making Money host, Charles Payne. Charles, I kind of want to start with you on the 10-for-1 stock split because me, old school, I'm thinking no economic value is created by this. Nothing actually changes. But Brian and I were having an interesting conversation this morning that it does something to the emotion, to the psyche of a person who says, I can't afford it at 1,000, but I can afford it at 100. What does that do to investors?
Well, there's proof that, and more recently, the stocks that split do go higher. But to your point, I would prefer someone buy one share at 1,000 than wait for a stock split and de facto be buying one share for $1,200, right? Because essentially that's what we're saying. Hey, chase this stock at a higher price. You actually own less. And so it's sort of a trick on the retail crowd, to be quite frank with you. It does work.
It works, though.
It works.
It's not a trick that doesn't pay off.
Well, it's a trick, but who does it pay off for? It pays off for the company, not the buyer, because you'd rather have the buyer buy the stock. Again, I'd rather you could buy one share now versus 4 shares next week. As far as Nvidia just now coming on the scene, I wrote about Nvidia 2 books ago. And talking about retail investors, here's a beautiful thing. I did a community thing in Bergen County, and it was a lot of young black investors. The #1 stock they owned 4 years ago was Nvidia.
Amazing.
You got to realize people were buying this first, it started as, by the way, public January 29th, 1999 at $12.
Well, it was a
gaming
3D.
Company. It was a 3D play, right? So gamers own it,
Yep.
and then of course they were using it for crypto mining. The crypto miners own it. So there's a lot of retailers out there that own this, retail investors that own this stock, gazillions of points below Wall Street, which I love. You know, I love when Main Street gets in before Wall Street. As far as the AI boom, you're right. It began with ChatGPT. We were shocked at just how quickly the evolution of it happened years earlier than I think anyone was ready for, including the people behind it like the Musk and those folks who didn't put the guardrails in place, right? So that's a whole social issue. But, yeah, you're right. It's the very beginning of it because these are just the picks and shovels, right? And they've got the best picks and shovels right now. Then who implements this stuff the best is also going to be really important.
Exactly.
I will tell you on the utility side, of all the sectors today, the #1 decliner are utilities. Because this Blackwell chip is designed to suck up less energy. Now, it's still going to be an electricity crisis, but by the time they really perfect this, it will suck less energy. Right now, it's something like a Google search is here, and this is 20 times more. Hurts our electric grid 20 times more than a Google search.
Just really quickly, but that's what everybody's going for. Everybody who's trying to apply AI is trying to do exactly that. Suck up less energy and need less computing power in order to make this work. And that matters for Nvidia because they sell the computing power right now.
But Nvidia's not, listen, this guy, we're talking about a guy who's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, you talk about nimble. You know, for all the credit we give like a Hoffman, right, for being able to see, you know, Netflix, hey, it's not going to be analog, it'll be digital. This guy's made 27 maneuvers already in the last 20 years to stay ahead of the game. And so, while there are going to be folks aiming for his chips, he's also aiming for their data centers and other things.
True.
He's not going to be flat-footed either.
I want to ask you this, and bear with me on this question because there's a lot of pieces to it. There's a new poll out that suggests that most Americans feel like we're in a recession because that's how this economy is translating to them at the grocery store when they're paying bills, et cetera. You also had Jamie Dimon out talking about stagflation and what's happening in our economy as well. And then on top of it, while people are trying to figure out what the headline number means versus what they feel and what they're hearing, you've got an MSNBC host explaining it like this. Listen.
We need an economic explainer. People are confused, they're exhausted, but they're also doing quite well.
They're confused?
Oh, my God. I hate them. No, they're not confused. They are not confused. I hate these people. I mean, it's got to the point where I was frustrated with them. I'm starting to hate the mainstream media. You know, forget about it. You're losing. Your guy blew it. Okay? He sparked 40-year high inflation. Bottom line, stop circling the wagons around the White House and stop talking down to the American public. People understand that when they go to the supermarket and come out, they walk out with fewer things. They are straining. They are suffering, particularly the lower rung of America. You know, and some places I saw Axios today kind of, you know, they're trying to. Some people have to admit it, right? I mean, some media outlets have to admit it. MSNBC never will. They will insult the American public to the bitter end, how stupid people are for not knowing how great they have it. But even with Axios, I saw a piece of data that shows you higher income households and lower income households and consumer sentiment. Their chart stopped at March. They haven't shown a more recent swoon in consumer sentiment. So even there, we don't get the complete picture. But people know they don't need an economist. They don't need an explainer. They are hurting. They are suffering. And that's what, and the data, by the way, is there. It's absolutely there. Solomon over at Goldman Sachs says no rate cuts this year.
Yeah.
The average American family is being crushed by inflation. Look at Target's numbers. Look at Home Depot's numbers. Look at Lowe's numbers. We don't need an explainer.
Yeah.
We don't need you to keep
lower prices.
Yeah. Listen, here's the problem. Monetary theory failed.
It failed.
Yep.
Gushing in trillions of dollars into the society backfired. Big time. And the irony, and maybe not an irony, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, I really believe this money was always destined to go to the top 1%. I also call them political donors. And so, all of this cash is going to end up in the pockets of the 1%.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of it.
Yeah, the only thing I wish is we could get Charles fired up about something.
A little more energy
just
from
a
you.
little bit more.
When I see something like that, though, it's come on now.
It
You gotta
needs
be
an
kidding me.
answer. It needs an answer.
Yeah.
You're right.
Payne, you're welcome to join us anytime.
All right, thanks. I love this. This is so cool right
Isn't
here.
this fun?
You guys need those. We need to set up a little marbles thing, and put up some marbles. We can
You
play
just
marbles
like
on
it because
commercial
you get
break.
to show off your
I know
sneakers.
Brian will play with me. We'll
I'll
play
play.
that, right?
We can arm wrestle, whatever you want to do down there.